Cloud. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We're back for week 5 of the Nourish project. I can't believe we're in week 5 already. I swear this time is flying by, our time together. So I'm really excited to hear about how everybody's week went. So now we're like 2 weeks into not just tracking your macros, but trying to hit those actual macro targets. And also, I'd love to hear how that's going. And also, if you've started doing the workouts or if you have questions about the workouts, how that's going. So like usual, we'll start with just individual check-ins. I'll have everyone share how it's going in terms of nutrition, movement, any questions you have, any like barriers or issues that you came up with. I would especially like to hear how the Super Bowl Valentine's Day went back to back in terms of like eating and drinking, because that can always be an issue. And then after that, we are going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is carb cycling. And I think you guys are all going to love it too, if you don't already know and love carb cycling. So just because you already have your computer or your camera on, let's start with BB, and then we'll go Caroline and Miriam, if that works for you guys that are off camera.
This was, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I think I'm finally ready to go.
Sometimes it takes a little bit.
Yeah, like 7 weeks of wasted time, but hey, time's not wasted if you figure it out, right? So, right. No epiphany or anything, just finally, I think it's just finally time after all this time to get going. So workout started. I've been eating pretty well, but not as well. Like I'm keeping up with my my protein. I'm keeping my carbs down, keeping the calories okay. I think I'm probably not. I'm slipping back into the not eating enough. So I'll probably start tracking again.
Okay,
and,
good.
Just not being as good and as careful as I have been. So I think it's time to get back on that. I gained a couple of pounds and I wasn't bad. It was just not good. Let's put it that way. So I didn't watch the Super Bowl, and Valentine's Day is just another day for me. So it was those two things were no big deal. But I think it's time to get healthy, and I think I'm ready now finally. So thanks to all of you for putting up with somebody who hasn't been really putting in the work yet, but I'll try to be more supportive going forward.
It's time. And the thing is, like, our 12 weeks are going to fly by. Like, I cannot believe we're already 5 weeks in. So, if anyone here, including you, needs like some urgency, like this is it. Like I've had this before. Like every time I do this Nourish project, it just shocks me how fast the time goes. And, we keep adding stuff. So this is a great time to like jump all in. So what is your number one goal for this week?
My number one goal, it's sort of a tie, but it's a tie between getting a workout in every day, something every day, and getting back on track with my macros. So those two things.
Okay, good. A fitness goal and a nutrition goal.
Yeah.
Make sure we're eating throughout the day, not just at night.
Yeah.
How's your water been?
Not good. So this is my second one.
Okay.
So I'm back on that train too.
Okay, 1, 2, and 3.
So what I do, Annie, I'll go, like I went 26 days of a gallon of water a day. And then I missed a day.
Yeah, I remember that in the beginning.
And then I was done. I missed a day and I'm like, okay, well, that's it. And it was the same thing with working out. I did like 3 months, in September, October, November. Then I missed a couple of days. My back was screwed up and I missed a couple of days. And now that was it until now. So it's like, it's stupid, but it's what I'm doing. It's like, okay, well, I screwed that up. So
it's a whole mindset thing of perfection, of requiring perfection. And instead, I just need you to require yourself to just keep coming back and do it again tomorrow.
Right. I
You just
know.
need to hit like 80% every day instead of 100% or nothing.
Yeah. And if it's not 100%, anything is better than nothing.
Yeah. Something is not nothing. I had a coach once who said that over and over and over again. Something is not nothing. So something is not nothing. Like one Nalgene is better than zero.
Yeah.
You know, some ninja cookies in the morning is better than nothing all day.
Yeah.
Um, okay. And then, so your goals this week are going to be, I mean, moving your body every day,
Yeah.
doing the workouts, tracking your macros, eating
Yeah.
consistently throughout the day, and water.
Yeah.
What's the number one top thing you want me to hold you accountable for? Is it the workouts?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Both would be
Math.
okay. Both the workouts and the macros would be okay, but the workouts are number one.
Okay. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, Caroline, how about you? Unless Miriam, and you know, guys are kind of off, so it's hard for me to know if this works for you to do your check-in now.
It's fine with me, but if it would be better for Miriam to go now, I'm happy to give this time to her.
Go ahead, Caroline. You're good.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, cool. Miriam, you're on deck.
So my check-in is I had a pretty consistent week. I traveled over the weekend. My boyfriend and I went down to DC. We ate out a lot. We did cocktail and water. So, you know, there's a part of me that's like I'm not a drinker. I'm not a big drinker, and I'm like happy to not drink at all. But you know, he wanted to have drinks after dinner and whatever. So that is what it is. I found that because we were like out of town all weekend and pretty much ate out all weekend, I was able to hit my protein macros, but it came at the cost of a little bit more fat.
Mhm.
When I, you know, have full control over what I'm making and eating, it's much easier for me to hit sort of everything pretty consistently. I think I say this every week. Like I've always thought I was a big carb eater, and I'm still not hitting the carb macros. Even like eating out, I've like one of my like go-to snacks, and this is not a macro balanced snack, is like those like hard sourdough pretzels. And I'm like, that's fine because I'm not even getting close to the carb. So like I'm gonna eat the damn pretzel. So
Isn't it
feel
nice? I'm just going to interrupt you for a second to say, isn't it nice to have that framework where you can have those carbs guilt-free and be like, oh, like I'm not even hitting my numbers yet.
exactly.
I love that.
So you know, I'm still like the protein part I feel good about. And in fact, I feel like I was coming in most days over the protein target, but also over the fat target, not by too much. And you know, again, just as a result of the eating out, like the fiber took a little bit of a hit too. So you know, I'm hoping to have just more consistent time at home, and when I'm not, to, you know, continue to have ideas about how to balance things out. I feel good about my workouts. I do feel like I'm definitely getting stronger. You know, I love heavy weights. I always have. And like to the point that like, you know, once upon a time I was picking up hundreds of pounds, which I don't do anymore, but it feels good to be picking up things that like people are like, that's really heavy. So I'm getting stronger. I was really bummed over the weekend. Like my weight was the highest it's been in months and months and months, like maybe ever. Only by a little bit, but still I was like, what am I doing? You know, like, what am I not doing right? I mean, we talked about this last week, but like my boyfriend and I went for a run on Saturday, and then like we went out Saturday night. I think the combination of the running and the alcohol, like I just retain water super easily. So maybe that's what's going on there, but also my calories are higher than they've probably ever been. So that, you know, I was like sort of in my head and I was like, oh no, what am I doing wrong? And when I did my measurements, you know, I'm seeing some small changes. And so when I first did them, I'm like, you know, we've been doing this for 5 weeks. Like I'm barely changing at all. So I was really appreciative of your supportive text and excitement, Annie, because I felt like nothing is going right.
Yeah,
and I'm
no.
trying so hard.
Things are going for you exactly how we want them to go. And I know you came to me saying, I want to lose these pounds. And I'm so proud of you for trusting me and just trusting the process, because it will come. But when you came to me, the only way was to keep cutting those calories and like slow your metabolism even down lower. And here we're seeing an inch off your waist, an inch off your belly button, an inch off or half an inch off your hips, while you're eating way more than ever before. And also, do you want to share what your F45 coach, like the compliment you got?
Yeah. So one of the girls I work with at this gym, she had like posted me doing like staggered squats on her Instagram story, and I reshared it, and she replied, she sent me a text and she was like, by the way, like I can tell, you know, you're really toning up and losing weight. Not that matters. And I was like, oh, well, actually, I'm heavier than I've ever been. Like, and I gained weight this week, but I do feel like I am getting stronger in a way that's visible. And I even noticed it in my pictures, although I will tell you, I took my first set of pictures like in the middle of the day, and then these were first thing in the morning. So it's also possible that that's what I'm seeing there. But the measurements, you know, the measurements speak for themselves. So like I said, I was pretty bummed. I don't know if it was Monday. I was pretty bummed, and I've had a cold. I got a cold. My poor boyfriend got a cold last week, and, you know, like clockwork, it showed up. And so I've had this cold, and like my energy has felt a little low. And the combination of all that, like Monday, I was just like, nothing is working. I'm trying. I'm really like doing the things. And never in a million years would I have thought the pictures and the measurements would be something beneficial. But yeah, so I am sticking the course, and I'm going to focus on the fat, you know, making sure that I'm not eating fat unnecessarily. BB, I feel like I've been really good with the water, but like on a day where if I don't like go hard in the morning and like I feel like I drink every morning. And then if I don't stay consistent, I'm sort of just like, it's not even conscious, but at some level, I'm like, well, I'm not going to get all my water in today. So I have like a midday drought. And so I do want to be more consistent with the water. I'm happy to report, and don't be jealous, guys. It was in the 60s in DC, and we were like in the 50s here in New York. And I think we're supposed to have normal temperatures. So I listened to the Jade's podcast about like, you know, the importance of walking and how it's like your daily activities that really matter when you're trying to lose weight. So I was like extra intentional about like giving the dog extra walks. Or
I saw that your steps were way up.
Yeah. Well, and actually here's a question. So like I said, like Sergio and I ran outside on Saturday, which by the way, like I haven't felt great running like that in so long. Like I feel stronger in everything. But like, so my steps are also reflect like exercise like that. Should I be trying to like net those out?
It's you could to get, I don't know. I probably would not worry about it, because it's
okay.
You know, it's a movement. It's good. What I really want to see is those total steps. And then strength training and then HIIT workouts, because I want to know if you're doing too many HIIT workouts and how much strength training you're doing. And then maybe just make a note, like some of these steps are coming from like 1 or 2 long runs. And you could pay attention to like how many steps you get before or after the run. You don't need to worry about like subtracting them or anything like that though.
Okay. That is doable.
Okay, that's awesome. So same questions for you. What is your number one goal for this week? And then what is the top thing I can hold you accountable for?
So the non-official answer is just to like continue to give myself grace and trust the process. But the more like technical, tangible goal is to really try to get the carbs and fat, like hit those macros consistently.
Okay. Awesome. And then I want to just talk about your weight, and like we talk about this. I've talked about it before, like why your weight might be up, why it might fluctuate, but it's something that just always comes up over and over and over again. And I saw, that's why I have you put like all the individual things. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that must have been the weekend. Like, I wonder what happened there. And then you saying that you were traveling, you were eating out, you were having more drinks than normal, completely explains it. And so I'll say, first of all, it's Wednesday now. Your body's probably going to flush that out like by now or very soon. Like it's just going to sort of flush it out, because if you're eating out, there's more sodium, there's like secret ingredients that you can't ever know. And it's usually oil, flavoring, sodium, stuff like that, which is really hard to track. If you're having drinks, more than your usual, or especially if your usual is like 0 or close to 0, that actually slows down your metabolism. And we'll talk about that more later, but your body interprets alcohol as a toxin, and it will like halt on metabolizing any food, and it will focus on like digesting and processing the alcohol to get it out of the system. It'll slow down your metabolism from the real food. And then once that's out, it'll go back. And then it also dehydrates you. So it's like a whole
I know,
thing.
I hate it, but it's like, if we're going to have like a fun weekend, I'm like, all right, I'll have a drink or two, like I'll participate. And I did notice, so yeah, like the highest my weight was either Sunday or Monday. And so compared to that day to today, it was like, it dropped by like 2 pounds or maybe a little bit more. So I'm below at like, as of this morning, I'm below where we started. But I have weighed less in the last couple weeks than where I was this morning.
Okay.
So
that's good. That's really good to know. And then I'll also tell you, and I'll kind of go into this more later, but as we start carb cycling, and if you're having high carb days on Saturday and Sunday, like the weekend, that's another thing that's going to cause your body to actually hold water, because the carbs are converted into glucose, which is stored in your muscles for energy, which is great. And then each of those grams of glucose holds 4 grams of water. So you hold a ton of water weight, and just from the carbs, not because you're gaining weight or getting fat, but you're going to be heavier after the high carb days, but then it's going to boost up your metabolism in general. So you're going to start seeing sort of this trend line of like up a little after the high carb days, and then down, up a little, down, up a little, down. And that's again why we keep looking at all the dates and looking at the trend line, not just like random times, but getting a lot more of that data for a better overall picture of what's going on. Cool. Great check-in. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for sharing all that. Miriam, your turn.
Sure.
Hello.
So BB, I feel like I was a slacker in the group too. So you're not alone. I feel like I'm finally kind of hitting my stride as well. Last week I switched start to track, and I think I mentioned this last time too, is then I just started snacking because my day would just kind of, go off the rails. And then I just found it difficult to get my food into my fitness pal. So I kind of, if you go in, you'll see like half days and then like it's just what isn't in there. So not good from that standpoint, but I will say that I have been like, pretty mindful of it. And I did see another pound go down. So I was excited about that.
That's awesome.
So in terms of macros and that, I think, getting consistently better. Starting Monday this week, I told myself I need to get it in, even if, it's not good. Get those in. So I've been tracking them pretty consistently since Monday.
Good.
Doing okay. My fat is where I go over. So that's something I'm working on, is kind of the days, what can I change? What do I eat so that I'm not getting to that high level of fat? So that's kind of the biggest thing I think I'll be working on this week, is that consistency and getting it into my fitness pal, and then the fats. And then,
okay, and I can look at that too when I
okay.
go through your check-in and get behind the scenes in your MyFitnessPal and see what
Okay.
what's going on there.
And then I will say, like, I do feel like I have more energy. So I did start working out too. I think I got 2 strength weight training workouts in last week. I've got my steps up a little bit, not where I want them to be, but getting the steps up. And it's not as nice as where you are, Caroline, but it's still got into the 30s and 40s. So it felt like a heat wave. So it's been nice to just get out and walk. So I've been doing a lot more of that, and, getting those in. So I guess I would say overall, I'm not where I would want to be at this point, but I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. And, I'm seeing the movement on the weight, and I haven't done my measurements yet because I wasn't sure, but I'll do that tonight or tomorrow morning. But I do feel like my clothes, like things are fitting better
That's
than
great
they
fun.
were before. So
That is awesome. Good. Okay. What about you? So same questions, top goal for the week, and what is like the one thing I can hold you accountable for? Or
I
like
think the tracking on my fitness pal, and
yes.
then steps is what I would say. Like getting to the 10,000 steps, being mindful of that are the 2 things for me.
Okay, good. And how do you get that in, with the baby and being in the cold weather and stuff? Are you going for walks and leaving the baby at home, or are you taking the baby with you? Or
yeah, she's at daycare now, so that frees up the week a lot more. Unless she's home like today. But when she's not home, I'm trying to either go outside or we've got a Peloton, so getting on there and just doing some, workouts there, and then getting a few strength training classes in there too. And now I'll start your video since I have those.
Good. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. Tracking, just like committing to be like, oh, no matter what, I am tracking, even if I have to like make it up, even if I already ate half my plate and I have to totally estimate it, or they just get in it. Cause it's kind of like a habit thing that you have to really kind of go all in for a while. Otherwise you're always kind of like, oh, like one foot in, one foot out, but staying really committed to that, I think that's a really good goal for you. And then the sooner you just sort of dive all in, it will get easier and easier, faster and faster. Cool. Okay, good. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Hey, so great check-ins all around. And I just want to say the 2/3 of you who said you think you are the slackers in the group, you're here on this call, right? Not everyone is even on this call. So you're doing lots of things right, including showing up. And it sounds like everyone is actually seeing really good progress. So congratulations, you guys. That is exciting. I'll just share quickly around here. I've been having a lot of fun tracking my macros. I think I've been like kind of just like really committed to making it happen. And I've also committed myself to tracking, even if I know like I went way over. And I had some days kind of back to back where I was too tired. Let this be a lesson to everyone. I was like too tired and ran out of steam. And Fred and I had like a date night on Sunday or Saturday. Then it was the Super Bowl. and then it was like Valentine's Day, and I did not have the energy to plan any of that, which meant he did, which was wonderful, which meant we had Cheesecake Factory on Valentine's Day and wings and nachos on Super Bowl. And even so, I'm sure I could have been like, okay, I'm gonna really stick to this, and I just didn't. And so my weight went right up as I knew it would. So I'm not very happy about that, but I know exactly why it happened. And already it's like going back down. It's just flushing those carbs and those extra drinks out of the system. The baby is also sick. So I've had a couple nights of no sleep, which also, makes it so your body is like craving carbs and sweets to try to get any kind of energy. And I was not able to go to the gym because I was at home with her. So sort of a rougher week, but I'm also 100% back on today and feeling really good about everything. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my slides. We're, like I said, talking about carb cycling. Before I go to that though, let me share. I found this great graphic that my friend made. It's about how to hit your macros, and I know that's something everybody in the Facebook group too, in case you guys want to save it or take notes or something. But just a couple things that will really help with hitting your macros. So I think they kind of go in this order: pre-track your day, planning as much as you can, and plugging it in advance. I try to do mine the night before of the meals that I know are going to eat the same every day. I have the same breakfast, I have the same morning snack. Plug that in early, because otherwise you're just tracking as you go, and it's so hard to actually hit those targets. Plan your favorite foods first. I love this. I love this. And if you guys aren't planning in some kind of treat, like around 100 calories ish, please do that. Please treat yourself to like a mini Reese's peanut butter cup, or like a frozen yogurt bar, or something that's going to, just give you a little treat and not feel deprived. So put that in. Make sure you're prioritizing getting protein at every meal throughout the day. It's really going to help keep your energy consistent and prevent the sugar spikes from carbs and then the blood sugar crash. Use that scale to measure. Nobody should be eyeballing at this point. You guys make that food scale your best friend and just build your plates on it, measure with it, whatever you need to do. It says eat 2 veggies and 1 fruit per day. I would say that is a bare minimum. But if you're like, I'm not even doing that, like, let's get those veggies and fruit. Is going to help you hit the fiber goal and also feel full, and that volume from the fiber is going to help you like stay on track calorie wise. And then having meals prepped ahead is really helpful. I don't prep full meals, but I prep like protein, and I make sure there's lots of protein options in our fridge right now. We have rotisserie chicken, ground turkey that I cooked, and one other thing. So it's really easy to just like put together, especially when I need a snack that is high protein. Any questions about that? No? Okay, I'm going to go into, so we're going to talk about carb cycling. So here's essentially what it looks like and why we're doing it. So what carb cycling is intentionally eating higher calories and higher carbs 1 or 2 or 3 days a week. We're all going to just start with 2. You can get more specific, more advanced depending on your goals, but we're all just going to start with basic 2 days of high carb days. The reason is that it's actually, there's several reasons, and I'll go into the benefits, but it is the real reason I'm having you all do it is because it is going to help boost up your metabolism long term and keep your metabolism burning strong and high. It's going to help your hormonal health, and it's also going to help hit your goals, because what happens is a lot of people do kind of act like this example on the left, where they're eating like super disciplined, super, kind of boring, like no treats, super restricted, Monday through Friday. And then by Friday after work, they're ready for happy hour. And it shows like a pizza on Saturday, and Sunday, like sandwich and burger and fries or something. So overall, even though this person is eating really healthy in a calorie deficit 5 days a week, they go way overboard on the weekend, and end up eating in calorie surplus and not losing any weight. So instead, what we're going to do is intentionally plan to have higher calorie days. I really recommend doing it back to back on the weekend, either Friday and Saturday or Saturday and Sunday. You can do whatever you want, but 2 days back to back where we're going to have slightly lower calories during the other 5 days on our lower carb days. We're still not eating low carb, but then we're going to put all those calories onto the 2 higher carb days, and have that differentiation between the low carb days and the high carb days. And so what it looks like is this, like where the first example is like 2,000 calories 5 days a week, and then 3,700 calories on Saturday. This is more like 1,800 calories Monday through Friday, 2,500 calories on Saturday and Sunday. So it's a little bit more. It's enough to have a treat or like a couple, more substantial meals with more carbs, but it's not going nuts. It's not like, if you've ever seen a picture of like the Rock's cheat day, it's not that. He eats like 5,000 calories, but he eats like 3,000 calories on a normal day. Okay, so tons and tons of benefits. I love carb cycling because it's one of the few things that is actually like fun to do and really, really good for you, except for lifting weights, which I think everyone who's on this call now agrees with me. Like that is definitely another thing that feels amazing and it's good for you. But here's all the benefits of carb cycling. So number one, it prevents your metabolism from adapting. And I think, I've talked about this enough. Hopefully you guys understand what that means, but how it does that and why it works is because if you're always in a calorie deficit, your metabolism is always adapting to what you're giving it. So if you cut your calories, your metabolism, you're going to lose weight a little bit at first, but then that metabolism is going to slow down to meet where you are, to meet what you're giving it. And then you're going to hit a plateau, stop losing weight, and then either be forced to cut calories lower to keep losing weight or get frustrated, throw in the towel and say, this didn't work, I give up. And then kind of that yo-yo dieting. Instead, what we're doing with carb cycling is we're going to be in a deficit. Overall, the average for the week is still going to be a deficit. It's just going to be a slightly bigger deficit 5 days a week. And then in like maintenance or even a tiny surplus, the 2 days of the high carb days. It's just going to be enough to prevent that metabolism from adapting. And so it's going to be like, oh, we're low. Maybe like this is the metabolism and this is the calories, right? We're low. It's like, oh, I should get lower. And then you're like, surprise, high carb day. And then it's like, oh, I need to rev up. I need to get back up here. I need to be firing up here. And then you have your 2 high carb days, your metabolism is back up here. And it's like, yeah, back here with the calories, right? So then it's like a repeat, where you're like you're in the calorie deficit, and as it starts to slow down a little bit, you raise it back up. You go in the calorie deficit, starts to slow down, you raise it back up and it stays up. So it keeps that metabolism burning strong and healthy. The other really big health benefit of carb cycling is that it replenishes and restores your hormones. And I just, sort of mentioned this. I didn't go deep into it during our earlier calls, but being in a calorie deficit, and particularly with lower carbs, over time can really damage your hormones. And I see this sometimes with clients that have done a lot of fasted workouts, low carb diets. It really can wreak havoc on your hormones. So having the 2 higher carb days is enough to replenish and protect your hormonal health and make sure that everything stays the way it is. Your hunger cues aren't getting off, your fullness cues aren't getting off, everything is still strong and healthy, even though you are in that overall calorie deficit. So what we're going to do is keep those same weekly average macros, and I'll go through the math with you guys so you don't need to be concerned about that. We're just going to shave off a few of the carbs from like Monday through Friday and put them all on Saturday and Sunday. So your overall average macro stays the same. Another reason that I think carb cycling is so great is not necessarily a physical health benefit, but the mental health benefit, which is it gives you a mental break from always being so disciplined. It's kind of like a pressure release valve on always, you're still going to be hitting your macros, right? But it lets you have just a little bit more. It lets you maybe plan in your favorite treat, or if you know that you have a special occasion coming up and you're going to like a birthday party or, some kind of event or whatever, what have you, you can plan for that and make that your high carb day. And so that'll allow you to have the special meal or a special treat or whatever it is that you want. Totally adjustable. Like I said, if you know you have a special occasion, or if you know you always like have popcorn on a movie on Saturday night, lets you fit that in and do it. If you always want to have brunch on Sunday, boom, that's your high carb day. You got it. And it's just a little something extra to look forward to. So you're being like more disciplined Monday through Friday, knowing that you have this little reprieve coming up. And I like to plan out my high carb days well in advance and look forward to them. Okay, so what it is not, I mentioned the rocks cheat day. I really want to be careful with the language that we use and be clear that this is not a cheat day. I'm not a proponent of cheat days. Some people sort of think that they're interchangeable, like a high carb day and a cheat day. This is not a cheat day. And the two reasons why are, number one, I want all of us to be working on building a really great relationship with food, like a great marriage, a great partnership, any kind of relationship. You shouldn't feel like you need to cheat on it to have fun, right? It should be like, I love the food I eat. I get little treats all the time. I don't feel deprived, and I don't feel the need to cheat. I feel really good eating the way I'm eating with my macros, and I don't want to feel gross by like having a cheat day and going nuts. The other reason that it's not a cheat day and we're not calling it a cheat day is because it's actually totally controlled, it's totally planned, it's totally disciplined. The cheat day kind of has the connotation of just like ordering like all the food on the menu and just going nuts and then like starting over on Monday. And we're not doing that. We're actually, you have to work harder, I think, on a high carb day to plan it out because it's different than your other 5 days of the week. Okay, so here's the math. Don't be overwhelmed by this because I'm going to go straight to someone's spreadsheet next and actually calculate it. But I just want you to have this sort of story problem in your head of what we're doing and how we're getting to these numbers. So all we're doing to calculate your high carb day is, I have two examples on here, either doing one high carb day or 2 high carb days. I want everyone to start with 2 high carb days. So what we're doing is we're taking your normal amount of carbs that we have, that you've been trying to hit for the past 2 weeks, and multiplying it times 1.25. That's for 2 high carb days. If you ever wanted to do just 1 high carb day, it would be times 1.5. So just so you know that and you have that information in the back of your head, but we're all going to be doing 2 high carb days, so 1.25. So for example, it's for easy round math. If you currently have a macro target of 100 grams of carbs, you're going to do 100 times 125. So now your carb goal for your macros is 125 for your high carb days. And then from there, you're going to calculate your new lower carb days, which are going to be the rest of the days. So you're just going to do 7 times the goal, which is 7 times 100 minus the number of high carb days, which is 2 times 125, so minus 250 divided by the number of days is 90. I know that probably sounds a little crazy. I'm going to pull up someone's spreadsheet and just go through the math in case that's like overwhelming to anyone. So don't be overwhelmed. But before I do that, I want to just point out that protein and fat stay the same. So therefore, your calories are going to fluctuate, but only to the extent that the carbs are changing. Protein and fat stay the same, and you still have to hit your protein goal. It's not an all carb day. It's not like Mean Girls where she's like on an all carb diet. And then just remember, this is just going to make a tiny dent in your carbs for your low carb days, because we're essentially taking a tiny bit from 5 days and then distributing that much across the 2 days. Okay. I am going to pull up, let's see here. Does anybody want to volunteer to be a guinea pig? Okay, I'm going to do mine because I have it up. But I will check all of yours and make sure that the math is in there. It should be automatically calculated. So you guys shouldn't actually have to do really any math. And I'll double check that tomorrow. But in case you want to go through it yourself, I will show you. So if you go to your macro calculation tab and then scroll down. So here's where you have your current breakdown of your average macros. And then I have everyone's already set. It should be calculated automatically for a 5-2 high carb day split. And you'll notice the protein stays the same, the fat stays the same, and the carbs are the only thing that's changing as far as macros, but that means that your calories are going to change as well. So do you take your weekly average? So mine is 197. And then right here should be 197 times 125 gets me to 227 for the high carb days. And then the lower carb days is going to be my average times 7 minus the high carb days times 2 divided by 5. And like I said, it's all plugged in automatically for you guys, so you don't really need to worry about it. I just want to sort of explain the numbers behind the math. And then over here is going to be your calorie target. So notice my average has been 2258. Now my new average starting tomorrow is, or as soon as I plug this in, it's going to be 2209. So it's just like 50 calories lower. It's very small difference on those lower days, but the high carb days is going to be 2380. So it's almost 150 calories more on those high carb days, and they're all coming from carbs. Okay, any questions about the math before I go back to the slides? I'm going to talk about just some like practical ways to make sure you're getting this. No? Okay, awesome. I must be getting better at explaining the math, or no one just wants to ask any questions. Okay, so it's pretty simple concept, but it can be a little bit tricky. And so here's just a few tips. And like anything, the best way is to just like figure out a plan and just jump in and go for it, and know that you might not, get it 100% the first time you do it. So number one, pick your 2 high carb days, back to back if possible, because those 2 days back to back is really going to be good for your hormonal health. But if, for example, you have, a special dinner on Thursday and then like a popcorn and a movie night on Saturday, and you want to do them on those 2 days, that works too. It's better to arrange that so you can hit your macros. But generally, the best thing is to pick 2 days that are going to be the same every week and back to back. Friday or Saturday or Sunday work best. The next thing is, how do you want to divide up your extra carbs? And I will warn you, it's not actually that many. It's not enough to go nuts all day long or all weekend long, but it is enough to go, for example, all in on a particular treat, maybe like popcorn and a beer for a movie night, maybe a donut and orange juice for brunch. It could be one higher carb meal, like a rice bowl or a pasta bowl with garlic bread, something that normally might not fit into your daily macros, but you just are like craving pasta or craving like a big rice bowl or something like that. Or you could just spread it out evenly throughout the day. And this is what I tend to do. When you do that, it's not that much, I'm warning you. It's like one extra piece of bread per meal. So it's not like a ton, but it's enough to like really take the edge off or plan something fun. I really like to have brunch and have like an extra serving of pancakes or orange juice, which I don't normally have with mine. The other thing that people get tripped up on is that they start thinking treats instead of high carb. So be mindful of food that is high in fat and high in carbohydrates. So like, for example, pizza is going to be like super high in fat. Donuts, cake, those kind of treats are going to be, yes, high in carbs, but also may cause you to go way over on your fat if you're just going nuts with that on your high carb day. Instead, I recommend looking for things that are really like pure traditional carbs. So pasta, rice, bread, waffles, pancakes, those kind of things. It's a good time to fit in a special drink, either fruit juice, which, you know, a lot of times you may not choose to eat because of it's just like high in carbs and straight sugar, or a cocktail or a drink. Also, you know, popcorn, candy, stuff like that is a-okay. However, I said you don't need to eat like a jerk. You don't need to eat like all candy just because it's your high carb day. You can if you want to, if you feel like you've been holding back and that will make your soul happy, by all means. Like I have one client who the first time she did this, she's like, oh, I want to eat red licorice. I was like, go for it. Go for it. Have your red licorice. But you don't have to like eat unhealthy stuff because it's a high carb day. You can load up on complex carbs, whole grains, fruits, fruit juice, beans, legumes, that kind of stuff too. And you'll be better off for it. But if you feel like what you've been really craving is like popcorn and Swedish fish, like go for that too. And then again, just remember there's also going to be a small dent in your carbs on the rest of the week, your low carb days. So plan to make those adjustments also. And it's a small adjustment on those low carb days. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. That's all I have for tonight. One more thing I want to say. I find it really helpful to look at the numbers for the low carb day and the high carb day and program in the low carb day in your MyFitnessPal, because that's what you're going to be aiming to hit 5 out of 7 days. You're still going to report your average on your check-in sheet and it'll calculate your average, but that should just work out normally. And then you could either go in and reprogram your MyFitnessPal for those high carb days, or you could I'd like to put like a little post-it on the back of my phone and just know my carbs are going to be over by 50 on this day and my calories are going to be over by, 200, and not change MyFitnessPal, just leave it all the same. Okay, before we go, we just have like a few minutes and ahead of time for once. So I would love to hear how everybody's feeling about, starting with the high carb days and what is like a high carb day treat you're looking forward to having. I'm gonna start with BB again because your camera's on, and then Caroline and Miriam, if you guys can chime in.
Bread.
Yes, bread is so good.
I
like
love
any particular bread?
sourdough.
Yes, that's my favorite too.
Authentic sourdough, authentic San Francisco sourdough. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Awesome. Caroline, how about you?
Well, I'm glad you took pizza off the menu because I would have said pizza, but like a bagel.
Oh, yes. So good. Okay.
Or even like doing an egg sandwich, but instead of on like high fiber, thin little bread, like on a bagel.
Yes. Oh, so good. Everything bagels are my favorite. Miriam, how about you?
I would say some sort of brunchy carb, so like pancake or French toast.
Yes. Nice. So good. I will say tater tots. Tater tots are my jam. With barbecue sauce, which is also like high in sugar and carbs. I will be looking forward to that. All right, you guys, I'm going to do your check-ins tomorrow. So Miriam, let me remember to send you that link right after I finish this call. Phoebe, did you do your check-in sheet? Oh,
Not yet. I did take pictures and I'll send those right off. One thing I noticed on my macro sheet, I don't think the numbers are right.
okay. What do
You can
you
just
think
check
is
it.
wrong with it? I can check it.
It just doesn't look like it's for me. It looks like it's for somebody else.
Okay, I'll check it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, you guys and if you're still sending me stuff, if you don't need to get it tonight, I'm gonna eat dinner and crash, probably take a shower. But if you just get it to me by like noon tomorrow, that's plenty of time for me to look at it, and then I'll get everybody your check-ins back tomorrow afternoon.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night. Enjoy your high carb days. All right. Bye.
Bye.